Hello, everybody. This is Nicholas Coly with Sweet Georgia Sports, and today I'm here to talk to you all about Devonta Freeman's contract situation, which started all the way back on Super Bowl weekend when his agent came out and said that Devonta deserved to be paid amongst elite players at his position in the NFL. Now that sparked debate. Should the Falcons pay Devonta? How much is Devonta worth? And is he worth re-signing and giving elite money, especially with the presence of Tevin Coleman in the backfield? Now that discussion has been reignited recently with Thomas Dimitroff coming out and saying he hopes to re-sign the running back to a long-term extension before training camp starts. Now, I'm here to talk to you all to say, does Devonta deserve that money? Has he really earned that money? Now, I'm going to start right off the bat and give you my opinion on this topic. Yes, Freeman has earned this money. His stats and his numbers certainly don't lie, especially these past two seasons in which he has totaled 3,175 total yards and 27 total touchdowns. That's just in 2 years, folks, and both of those numbers are amongst the league's high. Now, if you compare Devonta to the other top 5 paid running backs in the NFL, which are Le'Veon Bell at number 1, LaShawn McCoy at number 2, Doug Martin at number 3, Lamar Miller at number 5, and Leonard Fournette is at number 4, but I thought he wasn't worth mentioning considering he's a rookie and hasn't had a chance to produce any stats yet. But let's start off with Le'Veon Bell's numbers. These past 2 seasons in the NFL. The past 2 years, Le'Veon has put up over 2,576 total yards and 12 total touchdowns. Now, Le'Veon Bell is most likely, if not the best running back in all of football. He has dealt with suspensions and injuries these past 2 seasons, which is probably why his numbers aren't higher than they are. But the fact is, you do have to be on the field to accumulate statistics. Bell has not been on the field to accumulate statistics recently, whereas Devonta has. And Le'Veon Bell is actually in a contract discussion of his own, in which the Steelers are debating to pay him the big bucks. But let's move on to the second highest paid back in the NFL, LaShawn McCoy, who has a contract worth over $40 million, and he averages around $8 million per year on that deal. Now, his past 2 years in the league, he has totaled for over 2,810 yards and 19 total touchdowns. Now, LaShawn McCoy has dealt with some minor injury problems the past 2 seasons, some nagging injuries as well, that have kept him on the field and hampered him while he has been on the field. And he hasn't played behind the best offensive line. He hasn't had the best coaches. And overall, he just hasn't had the best offense. Nonetheless, McCoy is another great running back, but he's also another running back that Devonta has surpassed in total yards and total touchdowns these past 2 seasons. Let's move on to the third highest paid back in the NFL, Doug Martin, who's on the deal worth $35 million and where he's earning over $7 million a year. Now, these past 2 seasons, Martin has totaled over 2,228 yards and 10 total touchdowns. Pretty mediocre, but Martin as well has done with injury problems, but he also hasn't been himself coming off those 2 fantastic seasons down in Tampa Bay. Now, whether that is due to a decline or just some wear and tear, Martin has also underperformed and has not produced near the totals that Devonta Freeman has these past 2 seasons. Not even close, especially when it comes to touchdowns. Now, I am going to skip Fournette, who is the 4th highest paid back in the NFL, because simply he hasn't produced any statistics, but I'm sure he'll be fine. But let's move on to number 5, Lamar Miller down in Houston. Now, Lamar Miller last offseason signed a $26 million deal that pays him a little over $6 million a year. And these past 2 seasons split in between Miami and Houston, he has accumulated over 2,530 yards and over 16 total touchdowns. Again, another back that has not produced nearly as much, has nearly produced as many yards or touchdowns as Devonta Freeman. Now that we've got all those numbers and contracts out the way, let's talk about the running back position in general. Now, it has been a position that has certainly been devalued these past few seasons in the league due to running backs usually flaming out in their late 20s and early 30s due to a large amount of carries and natural wear and tear, which tends to hit that position a bit quicker than most. Now, teams have shied away from paying running backs big money, which we did, and they've even shied away from drafting them early because teams have found an ability to find talented backs that can be productive for 3 to 5 seasons in later rounds. Devonta Freeman is one of those guys, and you even have another guy on the team right now, obviously, Tevin Coleman, who has been very productive, and he was taken in the later round, and he's also cheap. So it really depends on how confident are the Falcons that they could get another guy. What if the team feels they can find another guy in the later rounds that could be just as good as Devonta Freeman in this system? How special and how unique do they think Devonta Freeman is? Now, there is no doubting that Devonta Freeman is a talented runner of the football, and if not one of the best when it comes to his vision and his patience. Now, he doesn't have the breakaway speed that Tevin Coleman may have or some of the other guys I mentioned may have, but he does run with an undeniable passion, and he is one of the more professional team guys that anybody would want on their team. I think Devonta Freeman is a guy anybody would love to have, and he's great to be around. And Devonta, he also just doesn't have a unique running ability. He also has a unique receiving ability. He's caught the ball 74 times and 53 times in the past 2 seasons. Now, obviously, his receiving numbers have dropped due to the emergence of Tevin Coleman as a receiving back as well, which is also important to note. Imagine how much higher Freeman's totals would be if he wasn't splitting carries with Tevin Coleman, something that both players have spoken on, and both players have said obviously they would want more carries, but they're fine because they're winning and they enjoy the competitive nature of trying to outdo one each other and so on and so forth. But that brings me to my next point. How much should the Falcons pay Devonta Freeman if they're willing to? Well, obviously, considering the contracts that have been given to the top 5 paid guys and Devonta's production these past 2 years, he certainly is at least looking at a floor of 24 to 26 million, which was paid to Lamar Miller last year, which would most likely be around 4 years, 25 million. Now, Devonta may feel he is worth more than that given his production. So you could be looking at a maybe 4 or 5 year, $30 million deal, which in all honesty would be the ceiling for a Devonta contract for me. Because at the same time, while yes, Devonta is a very good player, and while I don't think he's a easily replaceable guy, he's not a guy, a running back is not a position where you want to dump a lot of money, especially since the Falcons, they're getting to a point where they can't foolishly or carelessly give out big contracts, especially when you have guys such as Vic Beasley and Grady Jarrett who will be looking for contract extensions soon, and even a guy like Matt Ryan who will be due for a contract extension soon as well. So when all of this factors in and all of these different things come to the table, yes, Devonta Freeman is a good running back. Yes, he's one of the top 10, if not really top 5 running backs in all of professional football. Yes, I believe Devonta should be paid. I said this earlier and I'll say it again. The Falcons should pay him. They should try to work something out. But at the same time, the Falcons shouldn't overpay for Freeman. At the same time, they shouldn't, just give him a $40-50 million contract, because in the particular system that the Falcons run, and the particular scheme that the Falcons run, if you will, I believe they could find another guy that, while he won't be as good as Devonta, you could plug him in and the offense would still run smoothly, especially with all the talent on offense and the MVP quarterback and guys like Julio Jones and Gabriel and Sanu and Hooper. And just there's so much talent on this offense. While an absence of Devonta would certainly hurt it, I don't think it would kill it. And I may be totally wrong there, and I would hate to eat that crow. I really would, but don't get me wrong. I love Devonta, and I want him here at all costs, and I think he wants to be here, and I think the team wants him here, and I do think they will work something out that won't handicap the team, but that will also make Devonta happy. But anyways, that's my take on the Devonta Freeman situation. I would love to know your thoughts. But anyways, this is Nicholas Coly with Sweet Georgia Sports, and I'll talk to you all later.